Mentioning your name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just picked up a lecturer from one of the universities. What's your name, sorry?
Mehdi.
Mehdi.
Yeah.
Cool name. Where's that from?
Uh, Originally from Morocco.
Okay,
Yeah.
Morocco.
But I've been living here in Liverpool for around 6 years so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
Quite a long time.
my friend tells me lots about Morocco. Chefchaouen,
Chefchaouen,
the
yeah,
blue
it's
city.
nice, yeah, small city. It's all blue.
Yeah. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's quite unique.
And lots of other places he tells me about also. So what is it you lecture in? Research methods?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, I lecture research methods and assist students to progress with their master's dissertations.
Okay.
That's one thing. The second thing is I'm working on multiple research projects
Okay.
where we try to understand how the change of the maritime sector will be affecting future skills and what's going to be demanded by universities and students to learn so they can fit in the future. So basically that's the main thing I'm doing.
Okay, so your research is all involved with maritime.
Yes.
Okay, can you elaborate a little bit more? Commercial, is it? Maritime,
yeah,
so it's all
commercial.
commercial. So
Yeah.
this is shipping, logistics, that
Exactly.
basically
Yeah.
is why we get so much, of our products.
Yeah,
Yeah,
90% of anything travels by sea. So
Okay.
basically, whenever you hold something, 90% of it probably came from elsewhere by sea.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've looked into, like for example, people who sell on Amazon FBA. You've got a few options: Royal Mail, Air, which is expensive; shipping, cheaper when you get in bulk, but it takes longer. So I think what you're specialising, what type of companies are you talking about? Is this all shipping companies?
Yeah, it's all shipping companies, but I'm not focusing on companies per se.
Okay.
I'm focusing on the sector as a whole.
Okay.
So yeah, as you know, like companies buy the ships, they want to operate them. Universities have the task to train people so they can operate these ships efficiently and in a good way. There's always a bit of a gap between what the companies want and what the universities give. So we're trying to adjust this mismatch in training and demanding skills.
Okay. So when you say operate the ship, so are you talking about like an engineer, the captain, or just the whole comprehensive package?
The whole comprehensive package. So we're focusing mainly on the officers.
Okay.
So if you see on a ship, it's usually we call it manned. So people work there. So the manning of the ship, it's usually officers and ratings. The officers, it works in a very hierarchical way.
Okay.
So the officers is on the top. The ratings usually do most of the labor work.
Okay.
We have two departments on ships: the engine department and then the deck department. So just by the name, the deck are the ones taking care of the deck, and the engine are we have engineers there taking
Yeah.
care of the engine.
Okay. Yeah, my dad was a chief engineer at the later end of his career for most of his life.
Oh, right.
So he worked on I think it would have been maritime. So he done it for 40 years. He's retired now, but I pick up a lot of other people in that industry, and some of them tell me it's a good career path.
It is a very good career path, very rewarding.
Yeah.
But with a bit of challenges. It's usually sailing for months can come at a cost of leaving your family, having very limited social life. But it is very rewarding,
Okay.
and once you can get enough experience at sea, you can get basically whatever job you want on shore.
Yeah. No, I mentioned that point to him also about, for example, a long time away, and he said nowadays they do it. You don't like years ago. Sometimes my dad used to do 6-9 months away, but he said nowadays you can do, I think maybe even 2 weeks, if not a month on, a month off. So which is more attractive to a lot of people nowadays.
Yes, yeah, it's become more like organized and more human, I would say. But
Okay.
still, there are some ships that usually require people to work with them for 6 months or even more.
Okay.
That's for very haul, long travels and long voyages.
Okay.
But most of people try to find this balance, like
Yeah.
just going 1 month, 2 months.
Yeah.
My initial studies were nautical science, so I was trained to be a marine officer.
Okay.
And once I graduated, I was looking for jobs to work at sea, and I came by a very attractive opportunity, which is a passenger ship between Morocco and Spain, just the Strait of Gibraltar. It's only 15 kilometers, so it's a liner. I could just do the closest thing to a 9 to 5 job and just come back and sleep at my home.
Okay.
And just repeat again.
Okay.
So it's not all black for
Oh,
seafarers. There
yeah.
are opportunities if you really want to balance between your life and work.
Okay, no, that's interesting points to highlight. Are you passionate about what you do?
Yeah, definitely. Because I do not come from a family background of maritime. So
Okay.
I entered this sector by actual choice, with research, seeing how very exciting and different. That's what I want to highlight. It's not just the usual pathway for a student to follow. Usually, any student try to look for other more socially exciting things like medicine and engineering in other sectors, but maritime we're still a very closed small family, and it's very interesting what we're covering.
Okay.
And I like it because it's very multidisciplinary. So I'm in the maritime, but I come across and I learn many things on adjacent sectors.
Okay. When you say multidisciplined, example?
So, for example, my research, it's very straightforward. We want to know future skills. I had to learn some techniques in coding, in machine learning, so I can apply it on this issue and then come up with a solution. So I've been like juggling with two different things.
Okay.
So that's one example. Another example is something we're considering in the future, which is understanding the psychological state of seafarers in relation to technology and digitalization. So this is an application of psychology concepts from very different sector to our maritime sector.
And practicality wise, how would that scenario unfold, psychology and technology and logistics in maritime? How would you think that?
So we want to understand if seafarers are afraid from technology, and if the people who are destined to use that technology are afraid from it or see it as a threat.
Yeah.
It might really affect the digitalization and the development of technology in that sector. So, because the training is very basic for a seafarer. You need to know a multitude of things in a very short time, so you can be by yourself in a ship, and so you do not go in detail with everything. And the training is not very technology driven or tech driven.
Okay.
So they're usually not by working at sea and repeating the same tasks basically every day or every month. They're not very prone to accept change to the status quo of operations and getting familiar with new technology.
Okay, no, that makes sense. What's the demographic for the age gap? Is that maybe because there's an older generation of seafarers and they're a bit resistant to change and technology, or are you saying, well, no, it's across the board?
It's one problem. It's one side of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Age can affect that, but it's just it's just that the way we train these seafarers from the beginning.
Okay.
Installing some life learning philosophy of tackling the work and the career can change all of that, no matter the age.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And you sound very passionate.
Yes, I am. Yeah, it's very.
That's
exciting.
the business I was telling you. Like, I promote it, like monetizing your passion. It doesn't always have to be for the monetary reward. it's about that spark, that energy, what you like, what, like, I can tell you like talking about it. I mean, I can have the same conversation about quantum physics because I love talking about quantum physics. From a non-academic point of view, we can still have a great conversation about the fundamentals of it. But that's the point, we all connect with different things. So, for example, a question I ask a lot of my customers, let's just say Mehdi won the lottery.
Yeah.
Most people do jobs because it pays the bills. But let's just say you won the lottery and you had the choice and the luxury to do anything you wanted to. Take out of the equation travel, looking after friends, family. At some point you'll have a void in your life, you've got to do something.
Yep.
What would you do? Would you continue on the path you're on now, or would you, if you got another hobby or passion?
Well, to be very honest, I'll continue on doing research. I love research.
Okay.
It's something I feel very comfortable and very I feel in my place. I feel I'm destined to do that.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll continue on doing my research on the side.
Okay.
I'm definitely not a stupid person. Of course, I'll be investing in other things. I have a lot of money. I wanna build some wealth for future generations.
Generational wealth.
I'll keep doing research, and I have the money to fund some research, so it's gonna be very good.
Okay. Okay. But it will definitely incorporate. Yeah, you sound. A point that comes to mind is in context of research. It'll be an interesting one, but digressing a little bit. But like currently, the way so many people, social media, they're used to sound bites. They want shortened versions of certain information. There's a lot of bad information out there, whatever subject, especially to do with science, certain government issues, etc., etc. And I think, in fairness, I think people are to blame on both sides. There's a lot of bad information or misinformation, half-truths or untruths that come from mainstream, and equally there's a lot of bad information online. So rather than be polarized, I think it's good to communicate science in a good way and get certain perspectives and convey certain points across. But from a research point of view, because you get a lot of people online who will come across certain information and won't do due diligence and the right research, can you give any advice on trying to tackle that problem to prevent the spread of misinformation and disinformation?
Yeah, so the key thing, so you cannot fight misinformation forever, you cannot control all people, but the key thing is to educate yourself on misinformation, know what to take and what not to, how to identify misinformation or something related to propaganda. Usually we do not take anything from one source unless it is a very trusted one.
Yeah.
And it's common sense.
Yeah.
You gotta cross-check everything nowadays. We have bots on Twitter that can write many things and they can install an idea in your brain just in one day. So we gotta be very careful, especially with all these propaganda going on about the world.
No, totally. And I think the key point, like what you said, balance of information, double check your sources and try and get them from credible sources and make an informed decision.
Definitely, yeah.
No, definitely, yeah, that's good. What is it about the research process? Because you said that's definitely your spark, to paraphrase. But what is it? What you like about the process? Is it the different bits of information, the research, the things you learn? It sounds like it's the method, like really fascinating.
It's the learning journey, actually. Sometimes, you identify a problem, you want to work with that problem, you have a big goal at the end, and you just start doing it piece by piece. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense to you in the beginning. You just, as I say to many of my colleagues, just trust the process, just go on with it, and I like that excitement. But it's just the learning is just, I try to challenge myself every time, and I try to learn some things that I have no idea about and try to apply them. I'm not going to be an expert in them, but at least I can use something and apply it, and it's something new, not boring.
No, definitely, yeah, great answer. Can you give any advice? Because I love like researching as well from a different process and method as you, but sometimes you can be forgetful. And I've tried and I do experiments, which I think mnemonics, memory techniques, mind maps are really good for when you want to structure or repetition. Do you have any particular strategy or method? Or I think I heard one, the Freeman technique. as well?
To be very honest with you, I do not use any of these techniques.
Okay.
It's just for me, it's a very intuitive process.
A natural.
Sometimes I can be very messy with my work, really messy, like just writing a note in one notebook, another in another
Okay.
one in my whiteboard at home. Something it becomes very messy for me sometimes. I'm not saying follow my way.
Okay.
No, it's just the way I feel comfortable doing.
I'm a little bit like that. I don't follow the linear process method, what some people will follow. And mine can be a bit scattered. It's just that sometimes the recall, unless they're train and recall a lot of the information and structure it in a certain way, sometimes I can struggle with recall. Do you ever struggle with recall?
I do, and it's one of the main challenges with my method. For my non-methods at the moment, and it's just I try to follow a structure or follow a framework, but it's just I feel sometimes very not free if I follow a set of method. If I follow a method, so I do struggle with such issues like a recall. I forget things. Sometimes I can have an idea, very exciting one. I want to do it and after I go home, it's just I had an idea, but I don't remember it. It's just, and it goes like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it's good to journal and just make notes, because we all forget. And that's why I was curious to get your perspective on it. But no, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything you want to finish on? Advise any potential students who are potentially going into maritime or regards research? Any final comments you'd like to say?
Come join Maritime sector. It's a very exciting one. You need to be passionate about, because it's not we're a very small community working in this sector, but it's full of opportunities and with very positive outlook for the future.
Okay. Is there a website or somewhere, a portal people go and find out more information for maritime?
So they can go to they're just usual Google search. There isn't something very centralized on maritime, but if there is any big news on maritime, it usually is highlighted in the mainstream media anyways.
Okay. No, it sounds great. And like I say, I do pick up some people who are involved in the maritime, and they say what you say. It's not for everyone. It's a small community, family, but great opportunities. Thank you. Really appreciate this, Mehdi. I'm going to just bring this to a close now.